Another episode of What the Fuck is Going On. I'm just kidding. Um, let's look at this pattern again from the top view. 15-minute chart. Symmetry is important. I always talk about it. It's happening. It is. A couple of things I want to talk about. One is the symmetry. Two is what's going on right now. And three, just to answer some questions which people have commented on my last video and some other videos before that. So, yes, we had Protocol 20 implemented, smart contracts, that type of thing. That's great. That's amazing. But remember, we're still in early days of cryptos. Doesn't matter what you implement. It's just news, right? Yes, it can help. It could be amazing. You could attribute moves that happen to that. But at the end of the day, it's all human psychology. A lot of people don't even know about cryptos. The people who do know about cryptos, yeah, they might trade it, but they'll probably get wrecked if they don't do it properly. So regardless of that, you got to look at a few things here. Like I've given you three bottoms. I've left these on here, right? But I haven't spoken about the ones either side yet. So remember, I said we have another neckline here. Well, there's this bottom. Well, this one went a bit lower. And then we have another bottom. Yep, another bottom. And another bottom. We haven't seen that one yet, right? Do you get my drift? The reason that I say it's tilting to the upside is that we are making higher lows and higher highs, right? So just bear that in mind. Like when you get this type of turnaround in a market, don't expect it to be whoosh straight up, right? Don't expect it. It's not going to happen. You know what you got yourself into. You got to deal with it. And if you don't know the waves, you can't deal with it. Too many ups and downs, swings, turnaround, jump shot, all that stuff. Let me get rid of this stuff now, right? So, except that one. I wanted to show you on the 4-hour chart, seeing as though sometimes I like to use non-wave indicators. Let me just show you this. At the lows, just to make you feel better about the waves, we had a golden cross. 50 period moving average crossed above 200 period moving average, right? We are now officially in a 4-hour uptrend, right? Price is hanging around the 50 period at the moment, which is pretty cool. It's important, right? So there's no reason to think, wait, what if it's wrong? Yeah, it could be wrong, 100%. If it's wrong, well, damn, I'll have to just rethink a little bit. But the thing is, I've been doing that all along. I've been rethinking and I'm like, nah, this is all good, right? See a big move down? I said, hey, it's risky, watch out. Stop still down here, right? That's important because with these type of patterns, you don't know what to expect, except it looks pretty logical when you look at the symmetry, right? And you might lose faith and confidence. It's like, okay, look at the symmetry. It started off that way. It will continue until it moves in a direction. It's like I always say the car analogy, especially in this scenario. When a car turns the corner, does it go full speed or does it slow down, take the turn, and then speed up again? It's the same thing, right? So you can be afraid, you could be worried, you can take off and put on trades again and again and again, back and forth, but it's not going to help you, right? The only thing that really helps you is learning the waves, using some indicators sometimes, if you want to just make a video and show people that, hey, it's all right, it's going to be fine. So let's get serious. I think that the move, I'm still going with the view that we are a 1-2-1-2, which I hate to do, but seeing it's such a slow movement, I'm willing to run with it, given that the waves are showing me evidence of this. So we have 1, A, B, C, D, E. Had a larger wick down in the Bybit chart. Doesn't matter. Had a 1, A, B, C, D, which made an extra high from my last video. I realized why. Okay, I can lay it out for you if you want, now that I've memorized it. So you had an A, you had a B, a C, you had an A. From this point, you had an A, B, C. This was a D, right? Uh, Technically, that should start from there if I'm going to draw a line. This whole thing was a D, then E, and then the wave C. So that whole thing, see, I got it wrong again. It's a very tricky pattern. That whole thing was a D wave. A, A, B, C, and then D is big in the middle. So the D went from here to here. So in it, we had A, A, B, C, D, E, and then the C wave, right? It's a very tricky pattern. That's why I was tired last night. Yeah, that's a good excuse, I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, there was another subdivision, and yeah, I should have said from this point, E goes down, put your stop below it, and it went down like a shit, right? It went down like shit. Yes, I understand that. Symmetry, remember. So right now, okay. So what is this pattern here? And what kind of wave E is it? That's an important question, right? So let's go to the 5-minute chart. I'll look at this and I think, whoa, what the hell? Why? Because first of all, on the different exchanges, like on the Bybit exchange, that never made a low here. But I count this wave E as, which is it's actually quite funny because Coinbase is the only chart that I use for XLM. The other charts are absolute ridiculous. It's like trying to use Elliott wave. Ridiculous, right? And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, okay, that's great. But E waves tend to look like they're going to take off before they take off. Which is kind of funny. And I thought, this could be wave E, like a wave 4 of wave E. But then I thought, well, if this was wave 1, you've already touched the 1-2 area. It can't be. But then you look at other exchanges and it's like, well, that's made a new low. You look at the Poloniex or whatever the hell exchange and you see XLM doing this, like moving up. I'm like, what that? But then I went back and looked at the whole bigger pattern and I thought, this is a really bad chart. Like this exchange is like, people are on crack who use this exchange. They're on crack. I swear to God. Just have a look. You'll see what I mean. So I thought, okay, break the low. Do it. I'm here. Come on. Do it. Break it. But it hasn't done it yet. Why? Well, this, you could try and make this into a corrective pattern, but I think that's ridiculous. It didn't break the high. Yeah, that's fine. Correction can do that. But then I thought, well, if you're going to look at this as a correction, what's the correction? Originally, I thought, well, maybe we haven't, you know, actually, no, what I thought originally was this. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an A, B, and then that shit didn't make sense. So that's what I thought originally. And I thought, you know what? I looked at Bitcoin's chart and I thought, Well, potentially there's an A, like a sharp correction. A, I think it was B, C, D, E. That's looking like a zigzag, which is kind of funny. But it's not. It's not a zigzag, right? Because this is not a five-wave move. So I'm thinking, look, if this bounces from here, then I'll count it as a complete correction, right? If it doesn't, then make one more low. See if I care. Like I showed you the moving average on the 4-hour chart. We're making higher lows and higher highs. Um, the other exchanges have really shit data. They're fucking shit. It's really shit data. Like, don't rely on that. This is the only chart I rely on. I don't even use Coinbase, but I just know a chart is good by looking at the patterns. I could see that there's a lot more liquidity on Coinbase with XLM than even Binance, right? So what does that tell you? At this point, let's let it go. Let it go, release. It'll take care of itself. Forget about it. Wait and see. We need to break that high and we're off to the races. Okay? No, not too much hyper focusing on things. That's ridiculous. All right. So let's go back to the question where actually I'll need those. I don't need that. So the question was okay. So one of the question was so if it's going to 27 cents, which at this stage is based on the Coinbase chart, but different exchanges have different prices. Should we sell before? Okay, if you want to sell before, you have a guarantee just at the high, right? And from current levels, you will make 70% from current levels, right? I didn't have to do that again, but I did it anyway. Don't know why. If you go to 27 cents, you make 132. That's 60% more. So it's almost double. I'm going to use the waves to guide me, like count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And also, this is going to be a blow off top. Wave Ds are usually blow off tops. So that means they go higher than the target because people are mega hopeful, mega bullish, and they usually they can even spike up a lot more than the target. But they usually end up reversing in a big way. So for me, keeping a track of every single wave to the best of my ability will give me like a clue as to is this going to be such a weak move that the whole thing implodes before it gets to the target. Well, if you go back to like the first move, like just as an example, this is not the same wave, right? But this was a weak 5-wave move, right? It was a weak move. But the thing is that even though it was a weak move, it still showed its colors, right? It still showed you that hey, we're weak, but we're giving evidence away. We're moving up, and I understand the pattern now a lot more than before. But we still did this type of ending type of wedge. So it's not like you're just gonna see up, down, like without knowing the wave count at all. Like waves need to produce their patterns, right? And if you see a move that looks like a 1, 2, 3 has happened, well, you probably haven't seen wave 4 and 5 yet. And you probably need to see that. And if you sell early, all you're going to do is lose profits. So being too careful, it just means that you're going to make less money. That's all, right? You could do that. That's fine. No problem with that. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about when it comes to targets. Okay. Like I've learned this is from experience, right? And it gets crazy at the end too, because you could take the profit at the highs, right? And then you keep seeing it move up in a really strong way to the point where you actually feel compelled to get back in, right? You don't want to feel that way. It sucks. So that's the answer for that. Obviously, different exchanges have different prices. So try to use the measurements of the first move from the low point down here on your exchange to get your target, right? And obviously, stay tuned because I'm going to count the shit out of that. I think it's important. Um, Look, I know that some people think that perhaps it's such a suppressed coin that it's going to pump. It's going to pump. Yeah. Well, I want to remind you of my view with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a different fish, right? It's the granddaddy. Bitcoin ran for a reason. It ran out of pure hopium. It did, and with good reason. I understand the reasons why. You know, the libertarian reasons and the fucking Michael Saylors and shit. Yeah, I get it. It makes total sense. And but that's like hope is not a strategy. Like Michael Saylor has a website called hope.com. I mean, the guy is pure hope. He bought like crazy into this. He's going to buy it right into the top, guaranteed. 100%. Only to see it fall down. Right? The guy got into cryptos in 2020 or whatever, right? Like he doesn't know the waves. He's just like a fundamental guy, which is fine long term, but short term, it doesn't make sense. You're not really understanding this. And you know, people like that provide liquidity. They do. They absolutely do. Somebody's selling, you want a buyer. A lot of people sell, well, he'll buy it. Might lose, but who cares? He's got a lot of money. And you know how it goes, right? So I think that um, being careful at this point due to an incoming recession, and I'm going to post the idea, my new updated idea on the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq shortly, which absolutely say that they're at the freaking top already. Like they're already hit it. They're there. We are literally like very close from declining, but I don't know. Some things still need to run for some reason. They're all intertwined, interlinked, and they make sense. I believe XLM will make its run late, right? It'll make a late run, and it might even be the best indicator for the downturn. I'm sure Bitcoin will be as well. But in this case, it's very clear we have one more move to make before we actually get to that point where it's top across the board, big decline, synchronized downturn in the markets, global recession. I don't know how crazy it's going to be, how big it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure that the stock markets are going to suffer way worse than cryptos. I say that with a grain of salt because we know cryptos, percentage wise, move a lot. For example, 2020, we fell 69%, 70%. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? In the larger scheme of things, it's not that bad, right? But this particular recession is only going to spur on a real bull market. And that real bull market is going to send this a lot higher. I don't know what happens beyond that. I'm still thinking about that. It's very interesting indeed. I think that we're going to go for a series of booms and busts, but I'd have to go back to the drawing board to really remember where I was and see if I can improve on my analysis for the long term. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit hard to understand that sort of thing right now. I'd be going way too far into the future for that, and I haven't even seen this thing take off yet. It's still messing around here, right? But the experience helps me, and I'm glad that you are there to follow along. See you soon.